Yo, welcome to another episode of the Larry Ohh Show. Today, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Sennheiser, for sending us the Sennheiser MD421 Compact, which I'm recording on right now, so you can hear the crispness in this audio. It's a dynamic multi-purpose microphone. It can handle super high SPLs, which means that it's great for recording guitar cabs, kick drums, snares, overheads, cymbals, you name it. And it's really good for voiceovers as well. So this microphone is basically like a spin-off of the original MD421, but it's just a compact version. You can see it's a lot smaller and super durable. So you can clamp this on a drum. If it gets hit by accident with a stick, it will be able to take it. So if you're somebody that records instruments, samples, or even does voiceovers and video content like myself, this microphone is going to be great for you. Again, huge shout out to our sponsor Sennheiser for sending us the MD421 Compact. If you want to check it out for yourself, hit the link down in the description below, and let's get right into the episode. Yo, welcome to another episode of the Larry Ohh Show. As always, got my co-host to the left of me.
What's going on, y'all? It's John Phelps.
And I'm Larry Ohh. This is an FL Studio podcast and all music production related stuff every single week. We do a podcast here on YouTube and all different platforms. We also do a giveaway every single week where 5 winners get every single one of my FL Studio courses and music production courses from yahelpme.com. All you got to do to enter and win in that giveaway is comment the keyword or the key phrase down in the comment section on YouTube, and you're automatically entered. Every single week we pin 5 winners on YouTube in the comments as well.
Run over to the comments, drop that keyword when you hear it.
Yes, sir.
Get you a masterclass.
This week I was thinking, again, like always on my ride here, thinking about what we're going to talk about, what we're going to do, because I'm last second like that.
Well, you're sitting in traffic.
Procrastination. Yeah.
Sitting in rush hour traffic.
Yeah, for real. The traffic, which is sometimes like the best time to think of stuff, to be honest, because otherwise like I'm in my phone all day doing stuff, videos or scrolling. I mean, be honest. Or I'm on the computer working, shooting videos, doing something, working. So it's like I never get like that, like nothing time to just like sit there and think. And even sometimes in the car, I'm like, it's music or there's a podcast going on there or whatever. So I use that as my like way to think of topics for episodes or just think of things in general. But I was thinking today, why not? I've done stuff like this in the past on IG and maybe on YouTube, but I don't think ever on the podcast, like diving deep into it. I wanted to talk about creating vocal harmonies from scratch. Like say if you are a singer that can't harmonize, or you don't feel confident in harmonizing, or if you're a recording engineer, producer that you're working with somebody and they can't, because harmonizing is crazy hard. Right. I know, like, as a vocalist, I know as an engineer,
a little bit. I can't, I'm just saying, like,
as a vocalist
or something like that. But
like,
yeah,
as a vocalist, you know how hard it is to harmonize. Like, it's hard to sing in general, but like to harmonize and stack on top of that main vocal is like it's difficult. You got to know some music theory.
You gotta know.
We went through some harmonizing stuff with Simon Savita in that episode.
Yeah, that was crazy. Go back and watch that little bit, because that was crazy. That was how he notes it in and then has the singer match it when it's isolated.
Genius way of doing harmonies.
Really efficient way to do it. Yeah,
because he knows his music theory, so he utilizes that and uses that as a tool in that situation. Whereas, like, he creates a chord. I mean, you got to go back and watch it, but just to talk about that for a second, he creates a chord progression because he produces and knows keys and piano and music theory, and then he breaks that down note by note. He'll take layers out and be like, all right, sing this one,
beast,
sing this one. He'll remove notes and put notes back in. Crazy. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about Newtone in FL Studio. If you're not familiar with Newtone, probably one of the most like slept on stock features, plugins in FL Studio ever, aside from Patcher. Patcher is my other go-to for underrated plugins, but Newtone's crazy because everybody thinks you need Melodyne, thinks you need like Waves Tune, but we have a built-in vocal tuner. You can use it for just straight up tuning your vocals to get a natural sound versus an auto-tune or automatic tuning plugin sound that has that flutter. But with Newtone, you get that natural sound out of it. So main topic here today is creating a vocal harmony with Newtone. And there's a few things that you kind of have to do to prep for that. And I'll show you real quick. I think I was going to go to FL Cloud and then just type in acapella just to get a quick one.
I think I'm going to break about it.
There we go.
I think I'm going to break about it. I think I'm going to break about it.
I want to get something dry with like one layer. That might work, but let me just keep fishing.
We living in the dark.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's what I'm looking for. That's all I need. I just need something dry. You don't necessarily need something dry, but like this is just me purposing something for this video. send it to a mixer track. What's good is that you need to know the key. Like, this is something that is a necessity when you're doing this. This is in E minor. Tells you right here. If you don't know, use something like Mixed in Key Studio Edition. I still use that like in every session, bro. I don't know about you, but
yeah, Mixed in Key is just such an underrated plugin for sure.
Yep,
I use that damn near every session.
Yeah, in the sampler, you can right click. You go edit in pitch corrector. Edit in pitch corrector. That's gonna open up Newtone. You can also just like open up Newtone on the channel, but this opens it up, throws it in there automatically. And what I like using Newtone versus like other vocal tuning plugins like this is that like you know the shortcuts already. You know how to maneuver it. You know how to like make your way through that plugin already because it's FL Studio stock. So E minor, right? E minor, you're going to go to the scissor tool up in the top over here. Go down to scale, then go E minor. Right click on it just in case you want to keep that whole window open. I don't know if you knew about that one. If you right click on things in menus, it keeps the menus open versus like automatically shutting them. So E minor.
It's a quick little gem for y'all.
Yeah.
You know, splashing gems throughout the episode.
Yeah. I don't know who taught me this. Was it you that taught me that?
I don't think so.
Because I feel like I learned it in Newtone one time for some reason. Because
it's probably just that.
It's this, like, for this like specific reason, because I want this window to stay open because I'm doing two different things in here, and I'll show you. So I'm selecting the scale, E minor, and then you go over to snap to scale, and then make sure that's checked. So now you can also control A, highlight everything, or just like control, click, and drag, highlight everything. And then right click and it extra like locks everything in.
And we living in the dark, dark, dark.
All right, so now we're gonna try to create a harmony. And the reason why you would snap it to the scale is because you can move these notes around and you're not gonna really get a wrong note per se.
Right.
Because
if you
everything
don't
scale.
snap it to scale, then you're liable to get all over the map with it and it won't sound too good. And also, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Newtone, you have to listen back to it out of context, correct?
Yeah, that's one thing. And if there's somebody that knows a way around that, that's the one thing. And even with a lot of vocal tuning plugins, that's like the way it is. Because
it's
how do you
isolated.
get that to sync? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get that to sync with what you're playing in your playlist?
Right.
I don't know if there's a workaround for that. I've always just been like, if it sounds good there, I'll drop it in. You'll see in a second, but like if it sounds good in here, I'll take it out, drop it in, see if it harmonizes the way I want. But there's also a couple of things to do.
Could you play something hypothetically? Could you play something on the playlist and then press play within Newtone, like on the beat, so that way it would kind of like blend together and you could get an idea?
You can kind of time it in a sense, but it's hard. Like you gotta like let that loop and then maybe hit play inside of Newtone
on the one, type thing,
or you hit loop in here.
And we living in the dark. And we living in the dark.
See what I'm saying? Like you have to time it up.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I've definitely done that before with like mashups, like for beats that I've made and stuff, where I've been like, oh, this would be crazy if you put this like Gucci Mane vocal over like these strings, and you're like, oh, this is a crazy remix.
Yeah, I wish there was an easy way to do that. I feel like maybe I'm just missing it and just never like
could be out there. If you know, if you know, put it in the comments. Yeah. You know what I mean? The community need to be active with this. If you know something, speak up.
So what I like to do sometimes is just like highlight a section of it and just bring it up. Let me see. Let me highlight a whole like bar, not bar, but like.
And we living in the dark. And we living in the dark. And we living in the dark. And we living in the dark.
And it's gonna sound weird because sometimes those harmonies just sound strange.
And we living in the dark. And we living in the dark. And we living.
And then if it sounds good, I think like move on, and then you can kind of maybe move this section up. And you see how it keeps everything in the scale. Like even notes that are a note off, it waits until it skips into a note that it knows that's in the scale, and then it locks those in.
And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark, dark.
So now I got half of that, and I want to see just so I don't waste my time, click and drag it in. And now I know I only did that first half. Stretched it a little bit, did it? Oh, that's because FL Studio, the FL Cloud, boom.
It times it.
FL Cloud times the tempo. And then when you drag it out into Newtone and drag it back out again, it goes to the original tempo of 120.
That's
Slick.
interesting, yeah.
And we living in the dark.
It sounds kind of good,
Right,
So
yeah,
like,
exactly.
that's what I'm saying. So like,
Pretty
but,
on
but
point.
now
right
like,
there. Go to the next one that goes up. That was
This
sounding
one?
good, yeah.
In the dark, dark, dark.
That's cool.
That's
yeah.
it's fire.
That's
right?
like some Emojin Heat.
Yeah, so like
hide and seek, that Jason Derulo sample or whatever that was.
Yeah.
What you say?
Yo, that the harmonies in that are crazy.
She has like a vocal effect on that
Yeah.
thing. If you watch her NPR Tiny Desk, she does a little bit of like live manipulation. It's crazy.
Oh, I gotta see that.
It's amazing.
I got hooked on those Tiny Desk things at one point. I watched like 15 of them.
Yep.
And they're so good.
You know who's got a really good one? Is Tech 9.
I didn't see his. I gotta see his.
Tex is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a bunch though, like
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of really good ones. You know what it started me on it, believe it or not, was the Nelly Furtado one. I've
yeah,
seen a bunch of them
yeah.
in the past, but what got me on like a binge was the Nelly Furtado,
Yeah.
and that one was mad good.
The Mac Miller one is
That was
insane.
really
That's
good.
a timeless one.
Yep, that was really good. So what I like to do first and foremost, like those sound good. Like sometimes you do this harmonization right there, and you're like, damn, it doesn't sound good. But if you do a few mixing techniques, it can really make it fit in. Right now, it sounded pretty good off the bat. We got lucky right there. But you could see how randomly I just did that. It wasn't like I'm no music theory thinking whatsoever, just like kind of throwing it in there and going.
Snap to scale, baby.
So I'm gonna send that harmony to the mixer. I got it on extra large mode. Yes, I got that.
Large.
Tell him large Marge sent you. You know about that?
I don't know that shit. I don't know where that's
Merc
from.
knows it.
I don't know where that's from.
Oh
Is that
man, it's from Pee Wee Herman movie.
Oh shit. Is it his Long Adventure or whatever the one
Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
where he lost his bike?
Yeah,
That
he's
movie scared the fuck out of me.
Bro, it's a creep. It's Tim Burton. That's why.
Oh, that's why.
That's
Yeah,
why.
he's
bro.
like in the dinosaur at
Yeah.
one point. I was like, this movie's
You realize that
bugged.
movie has a vibe. Think about it now. But that and Beetlejuice.
Yeah, yeah.
It's around the same time,
Nutty.
close-ish, and you could see that it has that vibe. Like Pee Wee's Big Adventure, like has a dark, weird vibe at some points.
Yeah.
But-
There's like a clown and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like too much, bro.
Yep. So to hop off topic real quick.
Large
So then I like
Marge.
you could sauce it up.
Large bar. My baby, we getting into it now.
I'll throw an EQ on there.
Yeah.
Let me just loop this section because I just harmonized that section, nothing else. To get it to really fit, you're gonna want to like throw some EQ on there. It's gonna be just like some blending and some leveling, to be honest, and then it'll sound really good. And then
Right.
whatever effects you want, like you could throw, a reverb send, a delay send, or any sort of effects. But like what really gets those to sit is leveling. And even some like stereo separation. Say if you were to double it, or you use the stereo delay in here too. This is what I do a lot with these harmonies. Sometimes I'll go here and I'll use the stereo delay. It'll take essentially what that's doing. If you're not familiar, it'll take the signal kind of like in the background, double it up and shift it off grid. If you go to the left, it pushes it more to the left, to the right, pushes it more to the right. But it gives like a doubling, panning, widening effect. So I'll do
with
that.
the
Level
early
it.
stages of the mixing and stuff, like you don't have to do too much. Like it's really just, gain staging your stuff, creating space in the mix. Like don't get too carried away right away, guys. You just want to, get a good sound going before you start adding all the sizzle to it.
Yep. So a lot of times, because I am like, and I'm in the habit of being a visual learner, and sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. In this case, for me, this is what helps me. I bring up both EQs. The one on the left right here is the one for the main vocal, and the one on the right is the harmony. And I'm gonna look, and this goes for EQ and anything, instruments, like no matter what, like two instruments like fighting for space, two vocals fighting for space.
Yeah.
Try this out, see if it works for you, right?
We're looking at you kicking bass.
So I'll look at the main vocals EQ spectrum and then see what's like really hot in there, and then I'll pull back on the harmony one. So
Right.
it's simple as that. Like I'll just see
Simple
what's
as
hot, and it looks like this 290, 240-ish. I'll pull back right there. Or actually, I'll pull back on the harmony. And then this is a little hot too, but I'll needle it.
In the dark, dark, dark. And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark, dark.
So I put that stereo delay on that harmony, and then I'll separate it just a little bit more.
And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark,
Can you hear that? Like both ears?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we living in the dark.
And see, if y'all notice, Larry didn't go too crazy with the stereo separation either. You know what I'm saying? With
No,
that
what am I at,
tool,
like 10
50,
o'clock?
a little bit less, yeah. You
10
don't have to
o'clock-ish.
do too much with that stuff, especially like, because you can lose a lot of qualities if you spread the signal too thin like that. Going back to mixing in mono, you know what I mean? Mix in mono, and you can see right away where your frequencies are fighting. And also, if you stereo separate too much and you send it to mono, and you all of a sudden lose like quality in the sound, narrow it up. You know, send it back a little bit more down the line instead of spreading it so thin.
And an easy way to listen to it in mono is just going to your master and then zipping it right up to the
No need for a
purple.
plug-in or anything. Yeah.
Like I have a mono switch like on my desktop pretty much. Like I have that monitor station.
Yeah, yep.
Actually, I'm not using it right now, but I did. So it was just like a mono button. Boom, you hit mono, and it just monos the whole signal coming out of the monitors. But if you don't have something like that, you just make sure that you reset it. So like, and then obviously like scrolling it back, you might be fighting for the 0.0. Just click your mouse button wheel or right click, hit reset, or hit Alt and left click. It'll reset it back to 0. Like I said, we could throw some effects on there too. If you have a send, you can use a send. If not, just throw it right on there. In this situation, vocals, it usually sounds better if you're doing a send, but I just want to keep it kind of quick.
And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark, dark. And we living in the dark.
It kind of sounds crazy, like just being just on the harmony. So all you hear the only thing that you hear that has reverb on it is the harmony in the background.
That ring, yeah.
It's kind of fire, like, actually.
And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark, dark. And we living in the dark.
And then you could always take it a step further, and you can copy that harmony down, make that unique.
And you did that
sample.
just by pressing and holding shift while you scroll down.
Yeah,
or not scroll down, but pull it down.
Pull it down, yeah. So I'm doing holding shift, left click, drag down, let go. It automatically duplicates it. Or, I mean, you could just literally click on it, and it remembers like everything else in FL. So it's like that. And then, so this is unique, but make sure that you make that unique as sample, and then just make sure we got that. And then sometimes I'll do this to make them even like heavier and thicker. I'll pitch this whole thing down a full octave. And now because we made that unique as sample, it copied the harmony. So now like this new sample is already, you know, it's its own thing. It's not going to affect the other one.
Right.
And pitch that down a full octave. And then sometimes I'll go to the pre-computed effects again and stereo delay that one to the right. So that higher one, I had it stereo delayed to the left a little bit. Take this one, stereo delayed a little bit to the right. I think before I go any further, I think we could do key phrase today.
Let's go.
You got one, or you want me to do it?
I got one.
All right.
The keyword of the day is conniption.
Conniption.
Conniption. You end up in a conniption. Go over to the comments, drop the keyword conniption.
Spelling doesn't matter because I.
I mean, you could Google that for sure, but you gotta drop some version of conniption in the comments real quick. We want to see conniptions in the comments. So
That's a word my mom used to use.
put me in a conniption right now, Larry.
He's gonna have a conniption fit.
Yeah, he's conniption.
He's gonna have a conniption fit.
I don't know why that word came to mind. I just thought conniption.
All right, so yeah, comment that word in the comment section here on YouTube.
Right.
And 5 people will win every single one of my FL Studio courses from youhelpme.com. And will be pinned in the comment section next week. But yeah, we could keep it rolling a little bit here and give this a listen because we haven't even listened to this low pitch yet. I will also send that to a new mixer track. I'll match that level, match that stereo separation just a little bit, and then just kind of use that and see where we're at.
And we living in the dark, dark, dark. And we living in the dark.
Kind of gives it some more texture.
It does.
And we living in the dark, dark, dark.
A little less stereo separation, because what I don't know, somebody taught me this at one point, and it's not necessarily a rule of any kind. Obviously, there's no rules, but for lower pitch stuff, I like to keep the lower pitch, lower frequency stuff more in the middle and the higher stuff spread out. And I think it was more pertaining to mixing drums. Like when you go to start mixing cymbals and overheads and hi-hats and stuff like that, like having the higher ones panned out more and then having the ones that are like lower frequency, lower pitch.
Send it right up the middle, yeah.
More centered. So kind of using that in this, for example, too, like maybe keeping that low pitch more mono and keeping the higher one a little bit more stereo separated.
In the dark, dark, dark.
Just out of curiosity, I could also turn this on stretch mode and say if we want like another octave out of that, like lower that another octave, because we've maxed out this time stretching pitch wheel right here. Go to 12 on here, on this pitch wheel. Make sure that you do stretch mode. And then turn that all the way down.
And we living in the dark, dark, dark.
That's like really low.
That sounds cool.
I kind of like it though.
Yeah, I like
other
it.
one
I
was
like it better than the other one.
Yeah, the other one was like almost the same frequency-ish as the main vocal. I think that's what was sounding weird to me.
Yeah.
This one gives it that deep effect. That
I
low.
think what would be crazy is like having that low octave like that and then having like a third harmony almost through Newtone that you just like tease out another shelf for the vocal to sit on to get like that crazy like filled out vibe.
like a higher one. Because I
Either
feel
a
like
higher
right now we
one
have
or-
like a mid and a low and a main, maybe like a really like a higher one,
Yeah.
but a harmony.
Sure.
I could try something quick. Let me move this up because then this will be.
Because then you have a nice little 3-part harmony, like a barbershop.
Yeah.
Barbershop.
So let me explain what I'm doing here, because this is a technique too. I'm not gonna copy and paste the ones that we already harmonized. These two like purple ones right here. I'm gonna go back to the original one and copy that one down.
Yes, sir.
Make that one unique. So that way we're working with the original one again, and we just have like a good starting point. And then again, right click, edit and pitch corrector. Newtone comes up. Make sure just sometimes this resets. Sometimes look at snap to scale isn't on, so make sure you go back. It's already in E minor. Make sure you go to snap to scale quick, and then highlight everything. Right click, lock everything in. Maybe we just take this whole section right here and just start messing with something. Way up.
We living in the dark, dark, dark.
And then this variation is just making things like extra flat. This is gonna sound fake. It's gonna sound robotic.
We living in the dark.
But with the, the wonders of mixing and leveling, and this is, I know people are going to jump in the comments possibly and say like, just sing it, just learn how to sing. Sometimes you're not in that situation. Sometimes in this situation, maybe I wanted to take a vocal sample, throw it in a beat and just use it as like some sort of EDM vocal where it's just really repetitive, but I wanted it harmonized. I'm not going to go get a singer to do that. It's just the sample, or the singer in the studio can't really do it. Maybe they're struggling. They can't do it. They don't know how to do it. This is actually, again, a tool on how to do these things. Now you can listen and hone in on this harmony and be like, let me just try to sing that. That's happened to me in the studio where I did this and I was like, yo, I think you can just sing this. If you hear this on repeat, just keep listening to this harmony I just made and just mimic it.
Right.
Because it sounds good in here, but it sounds a little bit fake and robotic. So learn from it and just listen to this solo and sing it.
And what them people also got to consider is like, you kind of got to be a fun person to be in the studio with. And if you're just like, you're not getting it right, it's like, no, just like keep your singer in the vibe. Let your singer get the vibe and don't hurt them too much when they're trying to record. Man.
For real.
He must be a lot of fun to work with in the studio.
So let's see if this one works.
We living in the dark. And we living in the dark.
Easy
Yeah,
peasy,
come on,
man.
like how
Snap
easy.
the scale, man.
It's so easy. Throw it in its own mixer track. Listen to this side by side.
And we living in the dark.
Come
It's
on.
3 people singing.
3 people singing and a little bit of nip and tuck, a little bit of stereo separation. Maybe so again, to go back on my point of the panning and stereo with this one, I want kind of extra wide. I'll do an extra like stereo delay on here. Like I'll go a little bit further on this one. I want it to be exaggerated because this one's going to be really high frequency, so it can come down in volume a lot. What happens when you do the stereo delay too is like the volume you perceive it as louder.
Yeah.
So the volume's gonna come down.
I noticed that with do you ever use the stereo enhancer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use that quite a bit, and I always notice that you'll hear more in the mix where you're just like, sheesh.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
instantly. It creates its own space. Once it creates its own space and separates from everything else, you're like, damn, it's loud now.
It's like
Or I'm
shoving everybody
perceiving
out of the way.
Yeah. I'm which is a good thing to think about when you're mixing. If you want something to stand out more, try some panning.
Yeah.
Try some stereo separation. Use the stereo separator or the stereo enhancer or the stereo delay in the sampler. Try these things out because you could see that you can create more space by using these sort of things. So let's listen to this.
And we living in the dark.
Give that a little bit more.
And we living in.
I want to listen to these two harmonies together.
And we living in the dark.
That's kind of crazy. And then again, you could throw an EQ on there if you want to like thin it out a little bit, but it's pretty thin just by doing that.
And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark, dark.
Listen to the low one.
And we living in the dark.
Woof.
In the dark, dark, dark.
That's that, yo. I gotta save this. Let me save this because I kind of want to use it for something. Yeah, harm me. How about that?
Yeah, harmony.
And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark, dark. And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark, dark.
That's fire, bro. Now, I mean, there's no reverb on that one, but we could put reverb on the higher one.
Yeah. I like this vocal like 3 times more since we've added 3 more harmonies
Crazy, right?
to it. Yeah.
Like, how good did that get?
Yeah, for
By
sure.
itself, it sounded like this. Look at where we started.
And we living in the dark.
Good.
In the
But-
dark, dark, dark.
Now,
And we living in the dark. In the dark, dark.
Now it sounds like a song.
yeah.
Like that's literally the intro to a song.
Yep.
And then it drops.
Like-
you know what I mean?
That sounds good.
Right.
I'm gonna probably save that, and I did save it, and I want to send it to myself after this to maybe use it for something. It sounds good. But yeah, man, I think this week kind of keep it short, sweet. You have anything else to say about like pitch correction stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about Newtone, but we also have Pitcher in the mix as well. Like Pitcher is another great stock plugin with FL Studio. I'd say that I use that a little bit more than I use Newtone, though Newtone, see, I don't typically do this kind of work with vocals, but Pitcher is great for just getting like overall a good tune out of your vocal, like a good auto tune kind of effect, because you can go all the way up with the fast knob or the medium or the slow. You can kind of drop notes out that you don't need or ones that you want to add in as sort of like accidentals, because what's crazy about vocals is like they fill a lot of like accidental pockets. You know what I'm saying? Like it can really do a lot of magic, and so you want to like naturalize the vocals through different tools. And what I'll usually end up doing is using Pitcher on the whole take, and then with Newtone, if there's anything that I'm really hearing, I'll just like make unique as we've done.
Just like that little, like a little piece.
Yeah, there'll be like 1 or 2 words maybe, or like a few phrases, and I'll make that unique and use Newtone to kind of like piece it together and naturalize it in there. So I'll do the whole like...
Because you're saying like if you got Pitcher on your main take, or auto tune, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're using Pitcher, for example, because it's stock. It's here on this computer. But like, whatever you're using, if it has like
a
it
little
sounds
hiccup.
Good,
Yeah.
a hiccup. That's like a little flutter in that vocal, but you like the entire take, and maybe you don't want to punch in, or you don't like. You just
you don't have other takes that you can comp in with it, and you're just like, all right, I need
Slice
to
and dice.
fix this little thing.
Yep.
And I'll do that sometimes. But usually, like if you're doing a few takes and you have Pitcher, you can kind of comp between the good ones and splice out the ones that you don't want.
Yep.
But Newtone, I mean, I might have to go home and fuck with some Newtone, honestly, after watching
good.
this. So
it's really time consuming. Like when you get
yeah.
like, because I'll get sessions sent to me, bro. Like where if I can't just use it on like one piece of the vocal because then the rest of it sounds like it's out of tune. So I'm like, damn, all right. So and
Do it on the whole thing.
The copying and pasting thing you can't really do because every vocal take is different. So it's like you can't copy and paste what you did. So you got to go through every bit of the vocals and tune them using Newtone. So it's
definitely
crazy.
time consuming. So like but again, you can't you can't get Newtone quality without using Newtone. So if it's a stylistic thing that you're kind of going for, this is like in your toolbox and you should absolutely use it for sure.
That I've been saying it for a bit now. Newtone needs a big update.
Yeah.
And
what I'd like to see is like more, so you know how you can open up templates and it'll be like I plan on recording in this session. I think like not only could like your layout look different based on the template, but also like the access to things like Newtone. So if you were like, I'm going to record in this, and instead of having to do the whole right click and find the Newtone, you got to know where to look. It would be great if like you select the vocal and, you know, a window can pop up where like Newtone is like one button away and you just drag it and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
A lot of kids would like unconsciously or like accidentally find Newtone and be like, damn, what? And you get a lot of creative ideas out of just like that kind of mistake workflow.
I you know what I'm thinking,
a little more integrated, I guess.
Yeah, that I like that, like very, you know, integrate it better. And I also think that it would be crazy if, because we're getting this AI stuff now and this automatic stuff, imagine if there was an AI feature inside of Newtone that you let it analyze your vocal like it already does, but when it analyzes your vocal, maybe it gives you like 3 suggestions of where it should be. It gives you maybe like a subtle version, an in-between version, and like a drastically tuned, you know, variation and vibratos turned down. Like it gives you maybe like 3 to 5 different variations of it. And then you can also still fine tune everything, but it gives you 3 suggestions that it just does for you because all you got to do is put your key in your scale.
Yeah.
You put the scale in there and it's like, all right, this is where this vocal like should be based off of what you have in here, what we analyzed, and what you put in there as the key.
Right.
That would be nuts because Newtone hasn't gotten an update in a long time.
And I think kind of like what we were talking about earlier with like being able to audition it in context, like more easily
That too,
would be
bro.
great.
Those 2 things I think would be massive if Newtone got those
Big
updates.
facts. Because people are using FL for vocals now, you know? Like it or leave it.
Yeah, bro.
Here
And
to
I think
stay.
like to keep that, you know, in the conversation and to keep FL Studio in the vocal processing and vocal recording and mixing conversation, some big updates on that would really like change the game because people are still saying like, oh, I won't use Newtone, I'll use Waves Tune or I'll use Melodyne.
For sure.
For me, it's just the sense of like, it's just easier to do it for me like this.
Yeah.
Some people it's not. But to get people to want to use those stock plugins even more, I think you make some massive updates. You're changing the game on it.
I saw some homies of mine played a show. So do you know like Christ Dillinger, Acid Soldier? Like they played a show over at Alchemy, and some homies were opening. I saw that they were using FL Studio to like DJ their set.
There's
And
a lot of people. They've made FL Studio for live performances.
They've got the live. They've got the live setting in there.
Yep.
So I was just like, you know, if that, you know, there's. I think what's great about FL Studio is the fact that it's kind of like all over the place because it's really up to the user base to like use it the way that they're going to, and then FL kind of like here's the community as we know, and then is like we're gonna put more resource into updating these things, and I think Newtone is one of those that just needs to be updated for sure. For sure.
Yep, I'm gonna have to talk to these guys over there and get them.
What's going on with this?
But yeah, I think that'll do it for this week. A great episode. I love Newtone. If you have any suggestions or comments about Newtone, drop them down. If you want to plug anything, plug away.
Just shouts out to everybody who came out to the show in New York this past week. That was a fantastic time. Got a lot of hospitality from the crew over there at the Bowery Electric in Manhattan. That was crazy. You know what I'm saying? They had the Liquid Deaths on deck. You know what I'm saying? So I love my water. But shouts out to them. Shouts out to everybody who came out. And shouts out to the community for tapping in with us each and every week.
Hell yeah. So as always, if you haven't already, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And as always, make sure to share this with a friend if you get me.